Let's just start it.
Okay, man.
Let's just do it.
Let's do it.
Welcome back to the Zero Lives podcast with another tier list.
Woo!
Woo! Woo! So right off the bat, if you are listening on Spotify, that is just fine. But if you want the visuals to go with this, check out our YouTube channel at Zero Lives Podcast, and you can see the actual tier list that we are making right now. And the subject of this week is One Piece arcs, because none of us have finished Paper Mario yet. So Brandon and I have played it, but Dewey's still working on it. It's kind of a longer game, so we're going to hold off on that for a little bit longer, and instead we're going to rank the One Piece arcs. So more One Piece content for you guys that care.
This one's for you, Mike.
Yeah.
He loves it.
I bet. All right, guys. So do we want to redo our tiers this time?
I think we can leave him.
Yeah, we can leave them.
Yeah, this is like the universal language right there.
Yeah, it's cool. So we have S, A, B, C, D, just like normal.
Yep.
All right, so starting off, and I have taken the liberty of reorganizing this tier list so that it is in order of the arcs. To the best of my knowledge, I think it's correct, but, let me know if I messed up in the comments. But to begin, we have Romance Dawn, which is the very first arc of One Piece. So where would you guys rank that?
It's okay.
Yeah. It's
super short. It's only a few episodes.
It's a cool little opening.
Yeah,
it's fine.
The introduction of Luffy is like, he seems pretty cool,
Yeah.
That's all right, but like, there's not enough.
You know what saves it from being a D in my opinion? And I just put it in C because that's where I was thinking. I don't know about you guys.
I feel like that's fair.
What do you think, Brandon?
No, it's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
The only thing that's saving it from a D is Shanks for me.
Yeah,
Like
stuff
when-
with Shanks is good.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's like it's
Because even
a fine start. And
with no like knowledge or anything, like just immediately it's like, that guy's Shank, he's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you don't even need to like, you don't even know anything. Just like watching it, it's just like, he's sick.
yeah, very cool. Even like in the bar scene when the dude's like picking on him, he throws like beer on him or whatever,
Yeah.
and he just kind of like laughs it off. And Luffy's like, "Aren't you gonna like fight him for that?" And he's like, there's no reason to fight over some spilled beer, man. Like, it's all good." And then he goes outside, and the dude pulls a gun on him, and he's like, "Listen, if you pull a gun on someone, you better be ready to use it." And as soon as he stops talking, Rue just blasts him in the fucking head with his gun, dude.
Yeah.
So sick. So, yeah, I think the Shanks stuff really redeems Romance Dawn. And I should say, like, a C in One Piece is like an A in like every other anime, basically. Like, it's not bad. It's just a rough start for what it turns into.
Yeah, how comparatively to the rest of the show. Yeah.
Yes, so that's kind of what we're talking about. Next up, we have Orange Town. That is the introduction of Pirate Hunter Zoro. Roronoa Zoro.
There you go.
That always catches me.
Yeah.
And the introduction to Buggy the Clown. What do you guys think about that one?
Mushu? Is that the dog's name?
Oh, the little dog that
Yeah.
like protects the shop or
Love
whatever.
him, dude. Love him
he's
so
cool.
much.
It's not bad. I'd say it's about the same tier. It's,
And we love Zoro. So
We love Zoro. We
we
love
don't
Buggy.
love Buggy, but
We don't love Buggy.
yeah, he's all right.
I love Buggy.
I mean, like now I do, but not there.
He's okay.
Oh, not there. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
not there. Again, the thing that kind of saves it from being D to, you know what? I kind of think D.
You think it's D?
I kind of do.
I don't
But-
think it's D because there's some other things that I think are D.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I
don't
do
think those
like
things are on. Well, they are on here actually.
Yeah.
Some of them.
this does not have any filler, by the way, this list.
Because that's all D.
Yeah, that's all.
No, not all.
Well, like there's
It's all like C or D, basically. Well, not all of it, I suppose.
Yeah.
But Orange Town, we do get Buggy, but we do get the knowledge that Buggy knows Shanks. So if you are riding the hype of Shanks after Romance Dawn,
That's pretty cool.
you're like, okay, things are starting to connect, kind of. Like, that's cool. Like, how does he know Shanks? He's like, hey, we used to be on a pirate crew together. You're like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Shanks wasn't always a captain. You know what I mean? Like, Luffy has always, well, he's not yet, but like he's assembling a crew to become a captain. He didn't start under somebody else,
Yeah,
but
he-
Shanks and Buggy did.
Yep.
And now they're both captains, which is pretty cool. So then we have Syrup Village with
That's right, do it.
Dude,
Usopp.
S plus tier.
I actually really like
I would say
Syrup
it's-
Village.
it's
I like
at,
this.
at least a B.
I
would
think it
say
was the
B.
first one that had like a good story.
Cool
the
villain
whole-
too, and you know,
Yeah, the
it's-
whole twist of, who the villain is and
his
Usopp's
whole-
backstory is good. So.
yeah.
I genuinely was like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, especially like early on start. Like I enjoyed it as a
Kind of a lame villain, but
Yeah, he's not the best villain, but I like that he had a strategy.
the way they did it is cool. Maybe
Yeah,
not himself
yeah,
is
it
cool,
was
but
cool.
like the way it was done is nice.
a lot of dedication in his plan.
Yeah, a lot of kind of stupid. Like,
Oh no, he's gonna use the pussy foot.
yeah, exactly. But I do like the
he's
detail.
not cool. but
He's not cool.
I
but-
like the way they went about it.
Yeah, his shoes are so stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. I like him using his palm to push up his glasses. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Little
Because
details,
he's-
man.
Yeah, he's used to having like the Wolverine style claws kind
Yeah.
of thing. That was pretty cool. So
And it's introduced the best character in the world.
dude, Usopp. I right from the get go did not love Usopp because I don't really like the boy who cried wolf type of thing, and he only got more annoying afterwards.
I think he's hilarious.
I initially I liked him on just because Anthony hates him. And I was like, I gotta like
Yeah.
this guy. But like genuinely, I was like, he's not that bad. Like, I don't know why he hates him. And like, as the show goes on, I'm just like, I fucking love him so much. He's so funny.
Yeah.
He is genuinely like, he'll do something and I will laugh out loud to myself. Like,
Yes.
that's how funny I think he is.
He's definitely probably the
absolutely
funniest character. And it took me a while to think that way.
to appreciate it.
Yeah, to appreciate. But then once I did like Usopp, going back, I liked kind of what they did after a little while. I liked Usopp in hindsight after he stopped referring to himself as captain. Like even now, like going back and every time somebody's like, "Who's the captain?" Usopp's like, "Me."
Yeah, when he
I'm like,
joins
dude,
the shoot,
shut the
he's
fuck
like, I'm
up.
Captain
that's
Usopp and I
hilarious. What
command
do you mean?
8,000 men.
Dude,
It is
oh my
like
God.
if you're like, you know, like obviously everybody really loves Luffy. It's kind of like, man, why is this dude disrespecting him like that? What the fuck?
That's why I didn't like him. I was like, dude, what? I mean, at the same time, the whole crew is like, you're an idiot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there's no real reason to respect Luffy until we get to a certain point. And then everybody starts to respect him a little more, which is cool. But like, just like you said, the blatant disrespect of
It's not.
Usopp.
It's hilarious. I mean, dude,
It is funny.
Nami beats the shit out of Luffy regularly.
That's true.
Yes, but it's usually deserved because Luffy's being stupid.
Yeah.
You know, for like Usopp, he's just,
He's just like, nah, I'm the captain.
yeah, I don't know. It's kind of funny, but at the same time, I just never really thought that was super cool. Especially
Yeah.
when Zoro's like, I am not the, like, if anybody, Zoro should be like, no, I'm the captain.
Yeah, but-
and Zoro's like, absolutely not. Luffy is our captain kind of thing. So, yeah. So Syrup Village, not too bad.
No.
No.
Not terrible, but
Yeah, it's a good best one. Yeah, I think.
I'd say, yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Baratier.
That's tough. I would say maybe C, but I would almost bump it up to B just for
B?
for Mihawk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
that-
I would
that
say
moment saved.
That is like the coolest at this point. I think that's the coolest moment we get
yeah.
so far.
Anything else besides, take that out and it's a D tier for me.
Yeah, because
so.
we gotta.
Wait, you think it's worse than Syrup Village, or do you think it's better than Syrup Village, or no?
You can put it above it, but
I'd put it above it just for,
that moment,
Mihawk.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
Mihawk really. So the introduction of Hawkeye Mihawk or Dracul Mihawk is so intense because all we've kind of heard is like we're in the East Blue at this point, following the Straw Hats, and they want to get to the Grand Line. And when they get to Baratier, you see like another whole like ship kind of
yeah.
come in, a crew come in, and they're like, we were just on the Grand Line, and we literally got chased through the comm belt out of the Grand Line by this like crazy strong pirate, right?
yeah, they got fucked up and they are
Yeah.
like on their last legs. Like, there's no
Yeah.
joke over there.
Like their fleet is destroyed. It wasn't just like one crew. So it's like, oh wow, the Grand Line is pretty scary or whatever. And they're like, it wasn't just like any pirate though. Like the pirates there are strong, but then we learned that it was Mihawk, who is in fact a warlord of the sea.
The
one of the
world's
seven.
greatest swordsman.
And the world's greatest swordsman.
Zoro's goal, basically.
Yes. And Zoro challenges him, gets cut down with essentially a butter knife.
Obliterated.
Obliterated. And Mihawk lets him live just to say, come back when you're stronger.
Yeah, 'cause he's like, you know what, this guy, like, he's showing honor, and he like he wants it, kind of thing. So he's like, I'd like to see where it goes. Him just showing up on a fucking rowboat, just
and
like
that's his ship,
Yeah.
dude. Like that's like literally, he has no crew. He's a one-man pirate, and he's a warlord because of it. Like
Yeah.
other warlords aren't warlords necessarily because of themselves.
because they have a fucking giant
Yeah.
crew or what, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
They have power,
And
he's
there's
just like, no, I'm just strong. Like,
Yeah, he's just wildly strong.
There's like so many, like, all these early characters are, looking back, just lame as fuck.
Yes.
Like the villain, Don Krieg.
Oh my God.
The Baratia. He's awful. He's
I think it's literally
terrible
the
character.
most boring.
Oh,
just
horrible.
not like there's just nothing to build up to him. So it's just like he's, you know, he was on the Grand Line and he lost. Like
He sucked.
he's just such a boring character. I would
is.
say one of the worst like villains of any arc at all.
But like
agree.
even now, where we are now, like Mihawk's still one of the best characters. One of the most
Which is-
badass characters.
which is
I
cool.
got.
Mihawk's one of the
And we
strongest
met
characters.
him. We met him early.
And it's cool to see, like, you see the peak level of like how strong characters can be. And
Yeah.
it's like right away, it's like they're nowhere near
Right.
that. They're
Yeah,
not.
No.
The cool thing is that in this arc, I think it's this arc where you're introduced to the warlord system. And for anybody who may not know, or they're kind of starting out in this series, the warlord system is the 7 strongest pirates, not strongest, but like really strong pirates that the Navy has frozen the world government froze their bounties. So at a certain point, their bounties couldn't get any larger. In exchange, the pirate is allowed to do whatever they want in exchange for having to heed the call of the world government.
Essentially, they're, you know, end up being mercenaries for the government.
Yes, exactly. So the government's basically like, you're strong enough that like we could really use you, but I know that you're not just going to become a Navy general or whatever. Instead, you can do whatever you want as long as if we need you, you will help us.
Yeah.
So that is the kind of cool thing that I always thought was the coolest about the warlords, is that their bounties were frozen. And we don't know what their real bounty would be if they were not frozen. Now we do. Like in the series, if anybody's caught up in the manga, we now know what it's wild. Like Mihawk's bounty now is incredible. Like it's wild. So it's very cool that we see such a strong player, 2 strong players, a couple actually, like right in the beginning of this series. Before like episode 50, you know, like Shanks turns out to be like one of the strongest people in the world, and Mihawk is also one of the strongest people in the world. And those brief introductions that kind of come out of nowhere is so cool. Mm-hmm. The rest of Bratier is kind of like,
Yeah.
I mean, Sanji's cool, but like,
Sanji's great.
yeah, I don't know. The Don Krieg stuff really kind of sucks.
It's just boring.
Yeah.
There's just no there's no backstory or anything to it. It just feels just like thrown in.
Yeah. Next up, we have Arlong Park.
That's an A.
I would say
Arlong
that's
Park,
an A.
I would say is an A.
I'd say that's the first like really good arc.
Yes, that's the thing. It's not necessarily always the coolest arc, but as an arc, it is solid front to back, you know?
Yeah, and it's a good little benchmark for like, okay, like I'm kind of into this, like this, like, and it's, you know, what, 50 something episodes in or 40 episodes in or something.
Yeah, it's around 40, I think.
So like, it's a little, you know, like you've already committed a good amount to it, but it's like, I feel like that's like, all right, for a lot of people, they're like, I'm into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's the first like actually good villain.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
all the emotional parts just hit.
Yep.
And
It gets serious. I get some serious notes of the show. And you're like,
yeah.
okay, this can be like,
yeah, well, there's a scene in it that when it happens, it's like, I think what hooked me. And
me
it kind
too.
of is like when it kind of takes a turn and you're like, okay, this show is like not always like a fun, like,
yeah.
because there's times when like, it's like it's a fun show, you know? And then it takes turns and it gets dark and it gets
It
rough,
gets really
man.
dark. Yeah. You know, like right in the beginning of the show, we saw one of Shanks' members of his crew shoot another dude in the head, but it was just a guy, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, pirates kind of thing, and you don't really get that again until now, and then like we get some really striking backstories, and yeah, there's like one particular emotional moment that,
and like an established like villain that has his own like motives and stuff really helped like that, you know, like it helps push the story. It's like, okay, I do care about this, or I want to know more about why they're doing
Yes.
this kind of thing.
And that scene also is what I think really set like Luffy's character as like,
Oh yeah.
yes,
this is like a main character that I fucking love.
That's my
And
fucking
I will follow
dude.
him
Yeah.
yes,
to
for
the
sure.
end.
So, quick spoiler, you find out Nami's backstory, and it's fairly tragic. Arlong is part of the Fishman, was part of the Sun Pirates. He is a fishman, and there's a lot of kind of racism and prejudice in this world, and against the fish people. And he kind of takes over this island as a show of strength, saying like, no, fishmen are the true strong people in this world. Try to fight it kind of thing. And people can't. And that's where his hatred stems from. And we find that out much later in the series. You get more about that.
Yeah.
But in this instance, you see how ruthless the Arlong pirates are. You see what they've done to Nami's life and the rest of the village's lives. And you see the toll it took on Nami until it comes to a breaking point where she's been essentially tattooed to be part of the Arlong pirates. And she's like stabbing her arm, trying to get rid of the tattoo and like sobbing and telling Luffy, like, I told you to go away. I don't need your help or whatever. You're just going to mess things up. Like, I don't need you. And then she's like sobbing, crying, and Luffy is just standing there. And then she kind of turns to him and says like, Luffy, please help me. And he takes off his hat, which is, we know, the most beloved thing he has. And because he got it from Shanks, and Shanks said to return it to him someday when he's a great pirate. And that's like the big motivation for Luffy in this whole series. It's one of the only times he gives his hat to somebody else. And he puts it on Nami's head and he says, like, of course I'll help you.
Yeah, that scene is just absolutely iconic, man.
It's so good. And then like the walk to Arlong Park.
So good.
So good.
It's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah. So I think that really solidified me as like a One Piece fan. I remember Brandon telling me, like, I was watching the show years ago, you know, for the first time, and telling him like, I don't know, man, like
I had a couple
it's pretty good, but he's like,
moments.
Arlong Park, just wait till Arlong Park. And yeah, like wait till Arlong Park. That's when it gets really, really good. So next up, we have Logtown or Rogue Town. What do you think about that?
I think it's a lot cooler in hindsight than it is at the time.
Yes, I
So-
agree. So that makes it kind of tough to place.
I wouldn't say it's like a great thing because it's like, I don't know. It's there's nothing really going on that you know of until later.
And
I
then,
really liked it.
I really liked it too.
I
would
liked the
put it.
introduction of Smoker.
Smoker's cool.
Yep.
I love the whole, you know, attempt at an execution.
Yeah.
Of
Badass,
Luffy, yeah. Well, yeah. So Logtown is the site of Gold Roger's execution, which, in hindsight, why in the East Blue? Why wouldn't they do it at Navy headquarters? Like, it's kind of strange, but
where
it's
he's from,
interesting.
maybe?
Is that where they found him, or no? Because he
He turned
Maybe
himself
he
in.
turned himself
yeah,
in the East Blue because
Yeah.
that's where he's from.
Yeah, maybe.
that could be.
But actually, that is probably where he's from. I think that's where he's from. But you get that kind of whole little bit of a backstory about Gold Roger, which anytime they talk about Gold Roger, who was the former king of the pirates and the world's strongest being, like that is
It's the
really
driving
cool.
force of the entire show.
Yes.
So, like, I mean, if you're not interested in that, like, why are you watching the show?
Yeah, that like I guess people could be watching it for like the fun times of it or whatever, and like I don't know, but like the plot of the show is Luffy trying to become the king of the pirates, and
everyone-
Gold Roger is what he needs to
Yeah.
become. You know,
Everyone's
These-
after his fucking treasure. So,
Yeah, these,
it's,
These were so fucking long ago for me, so it's like hard to remember everything. But wasn't this where that one scene took place where Luffy was like in a bar or something, and the guy like was looking at Luffy and like saw Gold Roger in him?
I think so.
Yes, 'cause-
Yes.
That
Yeah.
was a
And
good
it's
scene.
there's a few times early on that a lot of people will see him and be like, I can, he kind of reminds me of
Reminds
someone.
me of Roger. Yeah. And because that happens so often, there's a good, Dewey, when you were watching this recently for the first time, you were like, I think Luffy is Roger's son. Like it's just so many people keep saying there's so many links between Luffy and Roger, which is like
I think
so
that's what they
interesting.
want you to think.
There's
even
absolutely
like,
characters that say that. Like there's a bunch
like
of
you could see
instances.
Luffy looking like a young Gold Roger.
Absolutely, yeah. And actually, throughout the series, you see the transformation kind of into Gold Roger's silhouette.
Yeah.
That as Luffy grows up, and that's really cool. But also in Logtown, we have the introduction of Smoker, Captain Smoker, from the
Badass.
Navy.
Still one of the best.
Very, very
he's
cool.
Such a cool character.
Absolutely. And he also introduces, because of what he has, the Logia style devil fruit, or the Logia type, which is, I think up until this point, I might be wrong, but I think we've only seen Paramecia
Yeah.
type, which is just kind of like the miscellaneous type of devil fruit,
Yep.
which you can do something cool.
A superpower,
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah, but Logia is that you can turn into, or you
are.
you
are
don't
an
turn
element?
into. You are something.
Yeah.
So like Smoker is made of smoke,
Yep.
essentially.
He's just smoke.
Yeah. So if you tried to punch him, your hand would go right through him.
Yep.
He can control that at will,
Badass.
which is really cool. Also, there's this kind of little, and doesn't seem very important at the time, but a little scene with Zoro trying to find a new sword.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, he goes into the
So
sword
fucking
shop.
badass.
Yeah. And he's like, what about this one? And you can already kind of tell that he has a knack for swords, sort of. Like there are other scenes of him in the background just kind of like sharpening his swords, cleaning his swords, which is like, oh yeah, he takes care of his equipment.
Yeah, he's just swordsman. He's got it,
Exactly. And he shows that like respect for his swords, which is cool. But the dude, like the shop's owner is like, oh, you should check out this one or this one. And he's like, what about that one?
I want that one.
I want this one. The guy's like, I wouldn't recommend that. That one's cursed. Like it's killed like every owner of it, like no matter how good they are. And he's like, I'll test my luck. And he throws it up in the air and it spins.
He's like, if it chops my arm off, I won't take it.
Exactly. He's like, then I'm not suited for this sword. And the scene of it like kind of spinning just around his arm.
So cool.
It's so fucking cool. And then he catches it and the shop owner's like, oh my God. And he's like, I'll take it. It's like
He didn't catch it. It went right into the floor.
go on the ground?
Also, the ceiling was like 100 feet. He threw it so high and it took forever.
That's
but
really
that
cool.
scene was badass. And now that I'm thinking about like how many cool things happen in this, I'm like, maybe this is an A.
I'm
'Cause
kind of thinking it was
We
an
also
A.
had the almost execution of Luffy, which he was saved by someone or something. We get a introduction of a mysterious character. I don't think they say his name yet.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Not
I'd
for a
put
while,
bottom
but
A.
like,
What'd you say? Like bottom A.
I would say
a
bottom
lot of
A,
big
yeah.
things happened in this.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
Buggy's back.
Yeah, Buggy's there.
Like that I thought was cool because I thought it was a one-time thing right in the beginning. And I was like, oh, this dude's back.
It doesn't set that up yet that there's going to be a precedent of returning characters.
Exactly.
Is he with Elvita now? Or?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
The cool thing about One Piece too is, especially coming from standard like kid anime, I remember in Pokemon watching that as a kid, and every episode was basically its own thing, and they would meet a character, and then at the end
never
it'd
see
be
him
like,
again.
we'll see you again someday, bye, and you never fucking see them again, right?
Yeah.
Like fuck them. One Piece, if somebody says I will see you again one day, you probably will.
Yeah.
Unless they die.
Unless they die, exactly. And like it's not like Buggy left saying like, "Oh, I'll see you again, Straw Hat" or something like that.
No, they were fighting.
You bastard. I'm coming for you.
Yeah, probably. But like he is back already, and you're like, "Oh, I remember that guy." Like I thought he was kind of just some goofy.
Like, this guy again.
Yeah, you kind of are like, "Oh my god, this guy." And
He's like Team Rocket, dude.
I know exactly.
He literally is.
Yeah. So again, at this point, you're probably not like, "Oh, I love Buggy the clown" or whatever.
Yeah, no, he's a guy.
You're like, oh my god, this fucking guy again, And especially compared to like Smoker, you're like, Smoker's a badass. You can't fucking hurt him, Like that's insane. So yeah, I thought Logtown was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Next up, we have Reverse Mountain, which is the entrance to the Grand Line. It's nothing insane. I mean, it's kind of insane.
Yeah. Is this into like
Crocus?
Okay.
And Laboon.
Okay. I really like this.
I also really liked it. I would put it probably top of B.
Man, just like them coming up that mountain, the theme song playing.
That is a good point.
Them telling each other their goals and kind of like toasting over it.
Yeah, they all establish like what they want to do together, and the absurdity of going up a mountain itself.
Yeah, the current goes from the sea up the mountain.
That's something that like we see like flashbacks of now, and it like it's just nostalgic, man.
Yeah. Because that is the conclusion of the first saga of the show.
Yeah, setting up the crew and going to
the Grand Line.
To the Grand Line, yeah. It's a big moment.
The graveyard of pirates.
Yeah.
The most scary place in the world.
Even if there's not any like a ton of things that happen there or whatever, but it feels very impactful.
Laboon. Come on.
Yeah,
I love Laboon.
Laboon,
It's cool.
I'd say that's at least a B.
I would say top of B.
Yeah.
What do you think, Bryn?
Yeah, I like it more than Barrett.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, cool. And also, so like Reverse Mountain in general is a cool concept, and it explains to everybody who's like, why don't they just go down the other side of the Grand Line to get to the final island?
Yeah.
Which apparently has the One Piece, and it explains why you can't just do that. The currents literally won't let you do that.
The other way. I wish they showed more of a map of what's going on. They don't for a little while, but earlier on it would have helped a lot, I feel like.
I agree, definitely. Because, the Grand Line is this strip around the world that goes around the world, and it's surrounded on both sides by what's called the calm belt, where there is no wind, there's no tide, there's like nothing. So if your ship gets stuck there, you're fucked. And also, it's the home to all of the sea kings, which are like these ridiculous sea monsters that destroy everything that goes onto the calm belt. Yeah. So it's a cool, like, this is why you have to get into the Grand Line this way.
Explains it good,
And also, Crocus, who they meet at the bottom of Reverse Mountain, is with this giant whale named Laboon, who is waiting for his crew to come back, who entered the Grand Line like 70 years ago. And he's like trying to get to the other side. He's like ramming his head against the mountain. And you're like, I wonder, that's a bummer. Hope his crew's okay. They're not, like it's been 70 years. There's no way. But Laboon, again, kind of comes back later in the story. But at the moment, I was like, this stupid whale, man.
This fucking whale.
But I have to say, this is the first time in the series I busted out laughing. I sent the video to Brandon. And
Crocus?
No,
okay.
Laboon. Like, Luffy just, like, punches this giant whale. And, like, the whole crew's like, no! And it's just the tiny ship next to this giant whale, and the whale's eye is just kind of staring out into nothing. And then it's like just that scene, and then the eye just goes down to the ship. And like the timing of it was so funny to me. I don't know. I just thought that was awesome. And then Crocus is hilarious. Mm-hmm. Like he's just this old man who's just like weird. Yep. He's like a doctor, but you find out that he was also part of Gold Roger's crew. Mm-hmm. So that is the first confirmed old member of the King of the Pirates crew, which is like, whoa, that's insane, man. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like Reverse Mountain.
Me too.
Next up, we have Whiskey Peak. Whiskey Peak, I fucking hate it.
I don't remember it.
It's they go to this island, and it's all of them are like welcoming, oh, pirates, yeah, we love you guys, kind of thing. Yeah. So it's like automatically you're like, that's fucking sus as shit. Yeah. But it's just they just go there and they throw a feast and feed him, and then they try to
kill him for bounty money,
that's
basically.
Pretty much it. And that's,
I mean, it's the introduction to the Baroque works, which is...
This is when we meet Vivi?
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Well, actually, we met Vivi, I think, in the Reverse Mountain thing.
No, it's right here.
I thought she was with some dude in Laboon's stomach.
I don't think so.
Maybe it was somebody else. I'm not sure. So.
I think you meet her here.
Okay. Well, either way, now we know it's Vivi at the end of this. And it's Princess Vivi of Alabasta Kingdom. And she was masquerading as Miss Wednesday from Baroque Works, which is basically just a pirate hunting gang
bounty organization
that is trying to collect money.
Yeah,
essentially. So that's kind of that. Whiskey Peak I thought was kind of lackluster. There's kind of a cool fight between Luffy and Zoro.
It's really just like setting up for what's to come.
It gives you a goal. You got to the Grand Line now. There's like, okay, we kind of got a goal in mind here.
Yes. Also, at the end of Reverse Mountain, they do point out that you can't navigate the Grand Line like normal. You can't just sail like east or west or something like that. You have to have what's called a log pose, or a log post?
Pose.
Yeah.
Points you to the next island.
Right. And by geographical magnetic waves, essentially. And otherwise, you would never get anywhere in the Grand Line if you don't have one. So a log pose will lock onto the magnetic signature of the next island, and then that's the kind of path you take down the Grand Line. There are multiple paths.
Like 5 or 6?
I think there's like 7.
Could be.
Or 10 or something. I'm not sure. But it's kind of a cool little detail establishing how the world works. Again, what are we talking about right now? Whiskey Peak. Whiskey Peak is kind of the intro to the next saga, which is the Alabasta saga.
Yeah.
Because Princess Vivi is the princess of that kingdom, and she's trying to save her kingdom. So now she's kind of like a little member of the crew, a temporary member of the crew.
I would say, would you put it at D?
I would actually put it at D.
Yeah, that's fair. It's not.
I mean, it's
not bad. It's
the
just
end of Whiskey Peak is when you find out who the villain for Alabasta is, right?
Yeah.
Do you?
I think so.
Yeah, because that's when they're like, don't say his name, don't say it, and then they say his name, and the ship blows up or something.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Okay.
So you find out that it is Crocodile.
Yes.
So it's one of the 7 warlords. So. That's badass.
Yeah, it's cool.
That was like such a cool moment because it was like, okay, like we're going against someone big now. Yeah, I like that.
And because you saw another warlord already at this point, so you're like, okay.
If he's anything like fucking Mihawk, then we're kind of fucked.
Right, exactly. So that's pretty cool. Next up, we have Little Garden, which I actually had to skip when I first watched it because I couldn't stand the laughs and I just didn't care.
It's the best part.
So
I love the laughs. The laughs of the show are the best part of the show.
They really are, dude.
Yeah, I've come to like them. But at the time, like, again, if we're watching it in order, I hated this on reread. Like I've read the manga now. I like it more, and it has more to do with the world because there are 2 battling giants who have been battling for like 100 years or something like that.
So cool.
And they are kind of important. And I didn't really realize that they were kind of important. But yeah. What do you guys think about that?
I would say it was cool. They had another Brokework member here.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants are cool because it's like there's Giants in this world. That's pretty sick. And it's like, I don't know. It's not great, but it was neat. I'd say it's like a C.
Yeah, I would say C also.
Bottom of C, top of C.
Probably bottom.
All right, I'll go bottom of C.
That's fair.
Next up, we have Drum Island. So this is the first time in a little while that we have the introduction of another Straw Hat member, Chopper, Tony Chopper, who will be the doctor of the crew.
I love this arc.
I certainly don't love this arc.
I wouldn't say I love it either.
The villain is stupid. But the actual
he sucks.
Yeah, he's terrible.
I just like Chopper's introduction. I like, dude, his story's so sad.
Chopper and Dr. Kureha and Dalton are all like really good characters.
Yes.
So like I feel like that is enough, even though the villain's just whatever.
Yeah.
But
and like this is where I had the conscious realization that the author is deliberately separating the crew members because they would plow through every island or every obstacle in their way if they were all together.
I had it previously with Little Garden. I was like, why the fuck is Sanji still on the ship? I was getting mad.
Yeah.
But there's a separation of powers to just
kind of nerf everybody so that
it's like the government.
Yeah. So, and I say that because there's like a segment toward the end where the villain Wapol is like hurting everybody, and they're like, "Oh, I need help.
The power of the munch."
Yeah, and he's like eating shit, and like Luffy is like, "I need to find my jacket."
Yeah.
And there's
cold, dude.
It's cold, man.
I was like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? It was very
you can't
clearly
fight if you're cold.
It's freezing out there.
That's stupid.
But yeah, I'd say B.
Yeah.
I say B.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I would say below Reverse Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
it might be above,
maybe above Reverse Mountain. Brandon?
Introduction of a new character is pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It was real emotional for me.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great story.
It was a good one.
They also, like, at the end of it, there's some cool future stuff that you see.
Yep.
You know, as Kreha and Dalton talking, it's like she mentions that Gold Roger is not his name, and she also mentions the Will of D.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So they're like, Gold Roger.
That's pretty big.
Is that what they're calling him now?
Yeah.
His name is GOLD
Gold
Roger.
D. Roger.
Gold D. Roger.
And mentions the Will of D. She's just like, yes, you know, that's still a thing.
Those people with the middle initial of D, they're special. Like, there's something about them, they just have something special. Yeah. And we know that Luffy is Monkey D. Luffy. Mm-hmm. So, that's...
Yeah. So,
Drum I like it. Alabasta. Alabasta, I feel like, is the first time that we're like, holy shit, this show. Like, this is like a world we're talking about. Not just like island to island, like go have like do shenanigans on whatever island, leave and whatever.
They came here like with a purpose, and it's like, we gotta stop this dude from taking over my fucking country.
Yes, exactly.
Like my whole country.
Yeah, it's not just an island. It's like these are literally countries. So
especially this one feels like, because some of the islands feel smaller or whatever. This is this is a fucking kingdom here. Like, there's a lot of people here. It feels massive.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, it's the first arc that I think it just feels really important, like everything that's happening.
Yes.
Crocodile is awesome and is
goated villain. He's sick.
Everything about his plan is just so fucking like cool, and
he has like a master plan that he's pulling the strings upon, and he's been doing all these things, and you can see like everything you just watched.
He put a lot of time into it. It's not like he just came and was like beat some people up or something.
Yeah, the last, like, every single island you went to, all of his members, like, they're all doing certain things for him, and there's, I don't know, it's really cool. And he's the man.
It's more like, it's not like he just came and overpowered everyone. He like has this whole plan that causes like a rebellion and causes the country to basically like fight amongst themselves, and it's
he's like a mastermind.
Awesome. Yeah, he's so cool, and there's a lot of cool characters that were introduced. I mean, you got Vivi, you got Bon Clay, one of the greatest characters in One Piece.
Dude, I love Bon Clay.
I liked it.
Crocodile's devil fruit.
Yeah,
like
sick.
It's a Logia fruit, and it's like this cool thing of like, how do you hurt somebody who's made of sand? You know, like,
especially in a desert.
In a desert. And that's like, why hasn't it rained in so long? Well, I fucking wonder. You know, like,
it's pretty weird.
And like, as the audience, you're like, oh shit. Like, that is ingenious.
He feels
Crocodile.
Impossible too. Like, it's like an insurmountable task to do what they're doing.
Until, for me, I was like, why did he take all the water then? And then when Luffy figures that out, then he can hit him if he has his hand wet or whatever. I was like, oh, that's a cool way to get around this, right?
Spin on him.
yeah, right? Yeah. So
I will admit it drags a little in some parts.
It does.
You also get introduced to one of the greatest characters in the whole show here.
Bon Clay, and I said that.
No, Ace, dude.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Ace, yes.
So I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. At the end of Drum Island, kind of when they're all leaving, I think Dalton is like, oh, yeah, this guy came here and said, like, if you see, he's looking for somebody, and if you see Luffy, tell him I'll meet him on Alabasta or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you're like, who was that or whatever? And then you see Ace, and Ace is like, hey, what's up, Luffy? And he's like, what's up, bro? And everybody's like, you have a brother? And he's like, yeah, this is Ace. He's my brother. And Ace is like, yeah, I'm part of the Whitebeard pirates. And you're like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, and I'm looking for Blackbeard. And you're like, oh, okay. Like, that's interesting. Like, oh, Blackbeard's a common pirate name kind of thing. And Whitebeard must be his opposite or something like that. Like, that's cool. And then he gives Luffy a piece of paper and says, if you need to find me, this is how you will. Keep it safe. And Luffy's like, yes, sir. And has Nami, stitch it into his hat. And I think at some point somebody says, like, why are you taking such good care of that piece of paper? And he's like, because my brother told me to. And as little as Luffy ever listens to anybody, he listens to Ace.
Oh, yeah.
Like that is, he's like, what is it? And he's like, I have no idea what this paper is, but Ace told me to keep it safe. So I will.
I also loved seeing like him and just like how strong he is, and like all of Luffy's crew being like, he's like not the strongest brother. And like Luffy's like, he beat me up a lot, but like, I think I could take him. And they're like, I don't think so, man.
Exactly.
And also the fact that he's not a captain. You hear he's part of the Whitebeard Pirates, and you're like, okay, so this Whitebeard must be fucking insane.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's so cool, like hearing all these, like you start hearing all these names, and he's just like sprinkling these little like things here and there. And I feel like this is the first arc that like really feels like really important. And towards the end, you see like, it's the first one where you see like what they do affects the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would definitely put this in S. I would say.
Yeah, I would say yes, for sure. Sorry, that was a long
Just
time.
the wrap up with
great.
Smoker, like when they try and like kind of cover it up, and they say like, okay, we're gonna like say like you
did it.
took him down, and Smoker's like, fuck no.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
He's like, shove it up your ass, man. I forget what he says, but it's something cool.
Yeah, it's super cool that, and yeah, the world is like, the world government is like, oh shit, this something like, and Smoker knows,
like how did that happen?
Yeah, like what someone took down a warlord, and also this warlord that was working for us was trying to take over one of our fucking kingdoms.
Yeah,
like oh no, and then at that point, as a viewer, you're like, oh, so these warlords are pieces of shit. Okay.
They're pirates.
Well, that's the thing. They're like so strong, and they think they can get away with anything. And clearly they can, and the world government isn't concerned about them. So what is the world government concerned with? Like that's, was a cool thing of like, who does have their attention if it's not their own guy taking over a kingdom right under their nose? That was, I thought, really cool.
And you see like some of the Marines, like Smoker, is just like, I don't trust this system. He's like, they're all pirates.
Yeah. He's like, you can try to buy them out if you want, but at the end of the day, they're pirates. Yeah.
It's a cool, like, come on, that's pretty weird.
Yeah. Very cool.
Because that was before you heard anything about like, anything stronger than the warlord. So when you first hear about the warlord, you're kind of like, okay, so these must be like the strongest pirates. And then you're like, but like, what's the point of, like, they obviously need the warlords to go against someone. So who's stronger than the warlords?
Exactly.
And it's like, I don't know, it's just cool.
Exactly. Because that's kind of what I was thinking at this point. I was like, is the warlord system so vital to keep pirates at bay that they'll let one of their own warlords take over a country? Like, is that, like, who's the threat? You know what I mean? And it's like, well, it's not Luffy. Not yet. That's not the threat we're talking about.
Yeah. Jaya.
Yeah, Jaya. So Jaya, when I first watched it, I was like, okay, sure, cool. When I rewatched it, I was like, yo, this is so fucking good. Like, I loved Jaya.
Me too.
So Jaya is the introduction of Skypiea, which is the next arc coming up. So Jaya and Skypiea are kind of one arc. Well, I guess they're separate, but they're one part. So in the beginning of Jaya, we have the world government's reaction to the fall of Crocodile in Alabasta. So now they're like, we need to replace Crocodile as a warlord. Who do we get? And they summon the 6 remaining warlords, which 3 of them show up, and it's
Kuma,
yes, Bartholomew Kuma, Hawkeye, and this kind of mystery guy. Kuma's a mystery too, but this weird looking guy. He's dressed up in like pink feathered jackets, and like
he's not really a mystery, don't they? Tell who?
They say his name is Doflamingo. Yeah. And he's very ominous.
I'm pretty sure in that scene he was like puppeting someone, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. And you don't really know
what's happening.
Yes. You're like, what is he doing? Like, what can he do? And Kuma is just this big dude with like bear ears.
I don't think he says a word. I think he just like sits there.
Yep. And he's just clutching a Bible, and he's just huge.
Massive dude. What?
Doesn't this happen a little later?
No, it's
in the beginning of Jaya.
It's the same episode that
Is this
Luffy
not
with
when
Bellamy.
someone else shows up?
It is.
with Bellamy.
I thought that was after they were introduced.
Who was introduced?
Blackbeard.
No, it's
No.
the same episode.
You don't know who Blackbeard is yet.
I could have swore.
You
Okay, no, I don't remember. It was dude.
No, that's fair.
It's a while. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
that's fair. Yeah,
Because I knew he showed up and like was like, I want to talk to you about my captain or something.
yes.
Yep.
So it's kind of this meeting of like, who do we induct into the warlord system now that Crocodile is, he's not dead, but we had to arrest him.
yeah, he's
you know, like
he's
for,
not. We can't use him anymore. Utilize him,
Exactly.
obviously.
Yeah, like we can't trust him. So who do we have? Like, who do we get? And Doflamingo's like, oh, who indeed? And he's kind of weird. And
Yeah.
Hawkeye is like, or Mihawk is like, I just came because I was bored. Like that's literally, I don't know
Yeah.
anything. And I, like you said, I don't know if Kuma even says anything.
I think he's just chilling. But
Yeah, but you see that the government is trying to replace Crocodile, and then somebody comes in the window and they're like, hey, they're like, how did you get here or whatever? And he's like, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Let me offer you my captain as a replacement warlord. And they're like, who's your captain? And then I think it stops there, right?
I think he says who it is.
Well, we know that
Yeah.
it's Blackbeard.
I think
right?
he says that though.
Okay, fair enough. So just that alone puts Jaya in A to me. That weird world building.
Yep.
But then we also have like, is Skypiea real or is it not? It is.
Yeah.
And the introduction of Bellamy the hyena in Jaya. You know, like I know that took place outside of Jaya, but the introduction of Bellamy is like, this is cool. Like this dude's like the strongest person in Jaya, and Jaya is like an outlaw island essentially. So, which culminates in the hardest punch of
That is still to this day one of my favorite fight scenes. I
Dude,
mean, I would
it's-
hardly call it a fight, but
Yeah, I know.
still one of my favorite scenes in One Piece.
yeah.
Dude, it's sick.
Yeah, and this is also a callback to that first thing with Shanks, where Bellamy, I think it's Bellamy, that is like trashing Luffy and Zoro after in this bar after Nami's like,
slams him through the bar.
yeah, and she's like, don't
Zoro
get into
almost.
a fight here. We can't afford it. Now we have bounties.
Yeah.
You know, after taking down Crocodile,
And
they do have actual bounties on their head now.
And she plays like the role of Luffy when he was a kid, and it's just like, why aren't you doing
Yes.
something? You're gonna let that guy do that? And he's like, yeah, I don't need to fight him.
Well, that's the thing, because like she was like, do not get into a fight here.
Yeah.
And then they start getting like the shit kicked out of him at this bar, and Nami's like, forget what I said. Beat him up. I know you can beat him up.
Yeah.
And Zoro and Luffy, without saying anything, just take it. They take a full ass whooping.
Zoro almost.
Yeah, Luffy
Zoro
says Zoro
almost-
don't do anything.
And then
Right.
Luffy had to tell him, like, don't do anything.
Right. Oh, you're right. Yeah, I forgot about that. So, you know, they get their asses kicked, and then those dudes leave, and Nami's like, what the hell was that? And Luffy was like, it wasn't worth it. Like, I learned a long time ago that stuff like that isn't worth it.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, whatever. I don't really get it. And they go outside, and there's or no, is this this is separate.
Separate scene.
A separate scene where they go to a bar, and then they're like, hey, I'm gonna get, and Luffy's like, I want this drink and I want this pie or whatever, and sitting next to him is this weird guy who's like, I want the same drink and I want the same pie or whatever, and they drink the drinks, and
It's the same scene. They just do that first.
okay, yeah, this comes before the fight, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and like Luffy, one of them loves the drink, one of them hates the drink. They eat the pie.
One loves the pie.
One loves the pie, one hates the pie, kind of thing. So it's like these two characters, Luffy and this mystery guy, are opposite people. They are like perfect opposites. And then like the fight happens, they go outside, and that same guy is sitting in the middle of the road, and he's like, good job winning that fight, kid, or whatever. And Luffy just kind of like looks at him, and he's just like, what are you talking about? And he's just like, yeah, you know, like, don't ever let somebody tell you that dreams aren't real. Dreams are what fuels the pirate age, and like, of course dreams are real. So
Yeah, like follow your dreams.
follow your dreams, kid. And Luffy, which you would think he'd be like, yeah, thanks, or whatever,
Yeah.
he just kind of stares at him menacingly and is just like, come on, guys, let's go. And like, they all turn around and start leaving, and Nami's like, he was weird, right? And Zoro's like, not he. they. And they're like, what? Or she's like, what are you talking about? And Luffy's like, it was them. And then that's the last like, they don't bring that up again. But I thought that was really cool for like current theories on who this is. We then, later at the end of the Skypiea arc, find out that person was Blackbeard. That is who Ace has been looking for.
Yep.
Which sets that up pretty nicely. Now that you know that he is the antithesis of, like,
it's such a like goofy introduction to like what is like one of the biggest villains.
Yes,
in
exactly.
One Piece, and that whole scene like made me initially like Blackbeard.
Me too.
Yeah, I was like, he's cool, dude.
Yeah.
He's sick as fuck. And he's like, good job. Pirate dreams. Like, your dreams are real. I believe
I was
in
like,
you,
yeah,
kid.
right on, dude.
Yeah,
This guy's great.
Yeah, which is interesting because it sets him up as Luffy's opposite, but also after the same thing as Luffy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like at first I was like, oh, he's like the same dude, whatever. Mm-hmm. But you find out that he's going to be a roadblock down the road, if they're going after the same goal. So where would you guys rank Jaya?
I'd say it's like
Hey.
Yeah.
I'd say probably low.
Yeah, bottom me.
Actually, I would put it above Logtown.
Yeah.
Probably not as good as Arlong.
Yeah, no, but
but like because it's kind of set up.
There's
stuff.
a cool those cool scenes we talked about are.
Yeah, I love the world building. So, Skypiea. I mean, Skypiea. Okay, so Skypiea is probably one of the least liked arcs in One Piece.
It doesn't fit. It feels like it is just a fucking. It's just the wrong shape for the show. It just doesn't. It feels so isolated.
Yeah.
And it feels like
in
it
the
doesn't matter.
It is
not just
isolated.
because it's isolated, but it just doesn't fit with everything, and everything else flows into each other. Or there's like, oh, because they did this here, this happens here. It just feels like it doesn't fucking matter at all.
Yes.
I liked it.
Also, you're wrong. And the pacing of this is probably the worst in the entire show.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yes.
but in the anime. In the manga, it's not nearly as bad. And
It's too long, and I get like the argument, but the parts that were good, I really liked. I loved
Yes.
Eneru as a character.
He's a cool character,
I love
but-
the way they introduced him like as a god, and like the way the way they did it. Like by the time we saw Eneru, I was like, yo, this dude's actually a god.
yeah, exactly. Well, I
He's
remember watching
so
this.
strong.
Yeah, I remember watching this for the first time and Brandon being like, have you seen Eneru? And I'm just like, yeah. And he's like, you see what he can do? I was like, yeah, dude, he's fucking made of lightning. And he's like, you think Luffy can beat him? And I was like, no. Like, I literally, how could Luffy fucking beat this guy?
Easily.
He can't. Yeah, exactly. But in the moment, I was like, he's like Crocodile, except there's no water to like soak his hand in to hit him. He's just energy. You know what I mean? He's lightning. How can this
It
happen?
went right over my head too.
Yeah.
I immediately was just like, that's fucking boring, because I thought about it,
Yeah.
so I knew it was gonna be. I know how it was gonna go.
Right.
you know?
Luffy is made of rubber. So rubber and lightning, it doesn't really matter. So he ends up kicking the shit out of him, which is really cool.
See.
So yeah, I'd say probably C.
It's D for me, but that's fine.
Oh God, do you think it's worse than Little Garden?
No.
Okay, I would say it's top of C.
Okay.
Plus the flashback scenes are
That's cool. That's
Phenomenal.
That's my favorite part of it, but it's because the rest of it sucks so bad. But those are sick.
Oh, with Nolan the Liar.
yeah.
Yes, that I
So
thought was
good.
very interesting.
I liked it.
So yeah, it's not as bad as people think.
Yeah.
Myself included. I'm one of those people who like really
Sucks.
disses on Skypiea, but it's really not all that bad. Next up, we have Long Ring Longland. This
Don't talk to me.
It's the actual worst arc
I don't want to
in
talk
One
about
Piece.
it.
People think it's filler.
It's a D.
actually not.
It's a D.
It's D. It's
Literally the
worse than
worst.
Whiskey Peaks.
we don't need to
literally
get
the
into
worst.
it.
Not good
Worst
at all.
characters, worst everything.
Yeah, that's the Foxy
all.
Pirates.
Oh.
Stupid. All right. Anyway, Water 7.
That's an 8. An S.
Hey, dude, I was
It's
about
an
to
S.
kill you. It's
We
my
can
favorite.
just put Water 7 in any lobby right up in S.
Yeah, put
Water
those-
7. Yeah, so Water 7 and Ennie's Lobby, to me, I always thought they were one arc.
I consider
like
them one
because
arc.
They flow together.
They flow
fun.
together so perfectly, Of course, they do take place in two separate places, Water 7 and Ennie's Lobby.
Yeah.
But everything that goes on there is incredible.
Oh my God, yeah.
I really liked Alabasta. And then going through the rest of it, got to Skypiea. I was like, I don't think I really like this show. And these 2 arcs right here, I was like, this is the fucking greatest show I've ever seen.
The twists, the fucking
It just
action, like the second gear for the first time. That's one of my favorite fights. And
the fight is still one of the coolest ones. And everything there just felt like it mattered, and it didn't feel like a kid show. I was like, that shit's going on right now.
Yes.
everything with Robin is so.
That's the thing.
Which we never even brought up Robin with like
Alabasta.
That was a big thing we missed.
Yeah, Robin joins the crew, Nico Robin, and she has been hunted by the government since she was 7. She is now 27, or something like that.
I think she's 30. Oh, that was
be.
post-time skip.
Maybe she's 28 now. Yeah, I think she's 28 at this point. But she's fucking awesome. She's like one of my favorite characters.
She's great.
But in Water 7, so all the things we have in Water 7 make it so great. There is, first of all, they got a bunch of gold from Skypiea. They have to turn it into money. They have to exchange it into money. That's why they go there. Second on the priority list is to find someone who can fix the Going Merry, their ship, because it just fell from the fucking sky, you know.
It's taken some hits.
It's taken some hits.
They've been in some battles.
Yeah, not even just Skypiea, like falling from the sky. Before, like,
it was
in
bad
Skypiea, it was up there. It was really bad, and some mysterious character fixed the ship, and only Usopp saw it. Keeping in mind that the Going Merry is the ship they got from Usopp. Well,
from Kaya.
Who was Usopp's like best friend on Syrup Village. Oops, we never mentioned the Going Merry, but yeah. So the Merry has been taken care of by Usopp, and Usopp's kind of hit this thing. He's like, I'm not a shipwright, man.
I know, I'm doing my best.
Yeah,
I'm not qualified for this.
Exactly. He's like, we need somebody official to take a look at the Merry and get her back up and running tip-top shape. So that and trading in the gold is the purpose they go to Water 7 for.
And isn't it to get a shipwright to join?
Yeah.
That's Luffy's
Luffy
goal.
wants a shipwright.
He's like, we gotta get somebody that will keep it going the whole time.
Exactly.
And keep stopping.
Yeah, and Usopp too. He's like, yeah, we need.
He's like, I can't do this
all the time. He's like, dude, I'm a liar. Like, that's my job here. Like, you know, he's the sniper of the crew, but
a liar.
Yeah, he's basically the liar. So, in Water 7, the crew splits up. Nami, Luffy, and Usopp go to exchange the gold or whatever. And then shit all goes crazy. Like, everybody basically gets separated from each other. So the things we learn at the same time is Robin disappears. We don't know where she goes. We only saw that one mysterious masked person kind of whispered in her ear on the street, CP9. And then she got freaked out, and then all of a sudden she disappears. What the fuck's up with that? Second, we find out that Usopp loses the money. Each of them have a third, so he loses like $100,000, and he goes to try to figure out where that went. And that introduces us to the Frankie family, who is another big player, and like Frankie himself, and also the Frankie family. And we find out back with Luffy and Nami that the Going Merry is irreparable. Like, it's done. The hull is no.
Yeah, I think
the hull. It's like the main
piece of wood that's
the big
on the
piece
bottom.
of wood.
What is that called?
The wood.
Man, the hull is just the underneath of the ship.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever it is. The main
thing is like
the main wood.
Yeah, and you can't fix it. So they're like, well, your ship is fucked. And then they have to tell Usopp that. On telling Usopp that, Usopp has already been like, I'm fucking useless on this crew because like I think at one point he says like, I'm not a monster like you guys. And that's where we get like the monster trio from like Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro, because they're like indestructible at this point, you know, like they get hurt and they just keep going. Usopp is a regular dude. He's like, I can't stand up to you guys. So he's already feeling bad about that. It's his ship. He loves this ship. He's told that they have to get a new one, but they're not ever, nobody tells him why. That's like, it always bothered me. So he just thinks they gave up on it.
I think like Luffy saying it to him is just, Luffy's just like, we have to get a new ship. It's to not even give him the option to like argue about it. It's just to be like, we got to do this. Yeah. Listen, I don't think it was like, oh, let's not tell him just to, whatever, doesn't
Right.
matter. I
He
think
was
he's
like,
just
I'm
like,
the
it's going to be
captain.
hard on him, so I got to just tell him it's happening.
Yes,
And
exactly.
he'll listen, and he doesn't.
Right. Which leads to Usopp leaving the crew, fighting Luffy.
The best episode.
It's
Lost
Absolutely
good.
so good.
So good.
Gets me every time.
And then we have the rest of there's like an assassination attempt on the mayor of
Yeah.
Water 7 that is apparently Robin trying to kill him. Don't know why. There's all this mystery. And then that leads into Enies Lobby, which, by the way, Water 7 is like a floating city. Like it's insane. And then there's like the sea train that leads right to Enies Lobby, which is a military or like the Navy's court.
Yeah, they have that's the court proceedings there, and it's like,
Oh yes, yes, exactly. So we have, so we have all this shit going on with Robin and stuff like that, and like it's wild. Like the rescue Robin thing goes into full effect. The Straw Hats wage war officially on the world government,
Fucking badass.
which is badass. Like it's so fucking good. So, and we also find out that like Enies Lobby has this giant gate that is like a shortcut for the Navy between three major points, which is Impel Down, which is the giant jail,
Yep.
the underwater jail, or prison in the entire world. Enies Lobby, which is the court, and then also Marineford, which is like the Navy kind of like headquarters.
yeah.
Base. Yes, exactly.
You also get to see introduction to one of the coolest characters in the whole show here. Sniper King, dude.
Sniper King. Yeah, so Usopp
true.
masquerades as the Sniper King fellow.
You think
Is it Usopp?
So
I don't
that's
think so.
all cool.
I don't really know where you get that idea.
Yeah, whatever.
Some crazy theories.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yes, those are all S's.
Amazing.
Easy. Post Enies Lobby, don't know what we're
Post Enies
considering
Lobby.
Post Enies Lobby.
You find out that Garp is
Ooh, yeah.
Luffy's grandpa.
Throw that up there, man.
It's-
You find out not only that Garp is his grandma, but that Garp exists because we never saw Garp
Yeah. Oh, you
before
did.
this.
You did with
you just
Kobe.
don't know
Did you?
who he is.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you see Kobe.
I thought it was the first time you saw Garp, but
No, because he's got the hat. He's got the dog hat on.
Yeah.
And then he takes it
Yeah,
off and
yeah.
never wears it again.
Yeah.
Dog hat was fucking cool though. You should bring that back.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And that when you find out who Garp is, it's Luffy's grandfather. You also find out that Luffy is only afraid of one person in the world,
It's his fucking grandpa.
and it's his grandpa. And you hear that Garp is some war hero kind of thing. I think that's where it's mentioned that like Garp is.
because every other, I heard like at least Robin's just like, what?
Yeah, everybody's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Monkey D. Garp is your like grandfather? Holy shit.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, what about it? I mean, I always was afraid of him because he used to beat me up, but like,
Yeah, he hurts, man.
Yeah.
He's fucking.
he punches hard, but it's like, holy shit kind of thing for everybody else.
You also learn the name of Luffy's dad here. 'Cause he tells him.
Monkey D. Dragon.
He's like, I heard he met you.
Yeah. So you find out that in Ogtown it was his dad.
That saved him.
That essentially saved him. Yeah. We don't know.
Did he?
Did he? Or was it just fate that struck the lightning struck the scaffold? I don't know.
It was him.
I think it was him.
He's
but
Garp says he ran into you. So that leads me to believe that he did it on purpose because
Yeah.
he told him he saw him. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like, I saw him. Whatever.
yeah. So that was cool too.
Okay.
Next
So
up,
that's an S we're going?
yeah, it's an S. I would say Water 7, Enies Lobby, and Post Enies Lobby all go together.
It's all pod, dude.
Yes.
It's all straight
S,
pod.
that's-
Yeah.
I can't read that. What is that?
Thriller Bark.
Okay.
Thriller Bark is the Halloween episode arc of
Dude,
One Piece.
It was fun.
I love it.
It was very
fun to
fun.
me.
I'd say
It's not the best, but I liked it. I mean, it goes on a little long.
I
I
think,
think-
there's some really fucking good characters in it.
Yeah.
And the end of Thriller Bark is
The end
some
of it,
my
enough.
favorite One Piece.
the end.
Yeah.
The end of it alone is enough to be an S for me.
Honestly,
but
yeah.
I liked it. I'd say it's an A overall, just for me. I love it.
I would say probably A.
Yeah, that ending though.
The ending makes it top of A, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
All right, so Sabaody. Sabaody is the next island after Thriller Bark, and Thriller Bark was actually a ship. But now they have reached the red line, which is the halfway point. It's a giant.
Fucking made it, dude.
Yeah, it's basically a giant rock wall in the middle of the Grand Line that separates. Now we hear for the first time that up until this point, the Grand Line has been nicknamed Paradise, and then the the other half of the Grand Line beyond this is called the New World, where all like the strongest pirates go.
They're like, you haven't seen your shit yet.
Yeah.
That was easy.
Yes,
it shouldn't have
exactly.
been a challenge.
Exactly.
And it was.
It was a challenge, yeah. So Sapa Odi is
Easy ass.
I was gonna say, because of what's going on there, I would say it might be better than.
I would say not as good as
Post Annie's Lobby.
Waters.
Definitely over Post Annie's
Yeah,
Lobby.
for sure.
Okay.
I mean, you got the addition of, or the introduction of Dark King Rayleigh, one of the
Yo.
literal best characters in One Piece.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
That alone.
The
is,
whole scene with Hachi and the Celestial Dragons is, top 5 One Piece scenes.
It's
Oh, yeah.
insane. It
To this
is
day.
insane.
Plus the end, like going up against the pacifistas, like
and
it
Kuma.
was such a like, it was so emotional, and just like to see,
It's so
just like the
fucking
first
good.
time where you're like, okay, like they don't always win, like
That's the thing, yeah.
they it's a clear loss. They lost, man.
Yeah. You also get
Completely overpowered.
the introduction of the supernovas.
Yeah.
Like all like the other
get to
big
meet, like,
players.
There's so many fucking people you meet here that matter.
Kid,
I
like
you gotta put it up.
it's-
It might be. It might be.
It's S. Like there's
It's certainly
no
S.
doubt about it.
It might be the best. Oh, I'm sorry. I put Water 7 below Alabasta.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not
Fuck
wrong.
that. No,
Well,
Water
honestly,
7.
I might put Saboti.
I like Water 7 better just because of like personal characters that I like, but I think Saba Odi is better.
We forgot to even mention in Water 7 the introduction of second gear and third gear.
I
Luffy
mentioned
did.
second gear. I didn't mention third gear.
Yeah. So that's like a crazy twist kind of thing.
Yeah, that's
Saba Odi also you get a very, very brief look at a newspaper that says Fire Fist Ace has been captured by the government.
Yep.
So you're like, oh, like nobody else sees this except the viewer, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh shit, because we forgot to mention again, post Annie's Lobby was when the Ace Blackbeard fight I think happened.
yeah, it's probably around.
It
there.
was somewhere.
Yeah, that makes
Blackbeard, like Ace and Blackbeard, kind of met up and they fought, and there's no clear winner when we end that fight.
But now you see.
Now we see that Ace has now been captured and no word on Blackbeard. So that's weird. Turns out that Blackbeard captured Ace and turned him in because Blackbeard is a warlord. So that's kind of going back to Jaya.
Yeah. Next.
Next up is Amazon Lily. So at the
C.
end, C?
C.
Yeah, C. I would say C. I would say top of C because of Boa.
Yeah, introduction of Boa was cool.
Yep.
Another warlord.
Yeah.
Other
she's
than
great.
that,
Otherwise, it's better than Skypiea though. So, yeah, that's
It's short, so I would say it's better than Skypiea.
yeah, exactly. The crew is now separated,
Yep.
and Luffy now knows that Ace has been captured and is up for execution. So Luffy's like, "Oh shit!
I
I have to
gotta
go
do something
I have
about
to go
that."
save Ace." Yeah, and Ace is being held at the very bottom of Impel Down, which is that underwater prison.
Which leads us to our next arc.
Impel Down. It's basically a rescue operation arc
Yeah.
that results in a very Mario-esque. Your princess is in another castle.
Yep.
At the very end of it,
I really didn't love Impel Down.
Dude, what? I fucking loved it.
I would
loved
say
it.
certainly A, but maybe we can go top of B.
I'd say it's an A.
Okay.
Because
Whatever you guys
you
say.
gotta put it in A. It's I don't know. I really
It had its
enjoyed it.
moments. It had its moments, but
There's a bunch of. I mean, there's a lot
just
going
felt
on.
like a lot of like running around and like
It is-
It was. I mean, that's
circling around and doing.
literally what it is. But I don't know. Just seeing all the characters and like seeing different people in jail and like running back into Buggy and like all the broke works that got locked up
Yep.
and
Crocodile,
seeing fucking Crocodile
Jinbei.
and seeing Jimbei. It's
Yep.
like that. It's sick.
Yeah, Jinbei
Plus,
is
you got-
another warlord that has been incarcerated for not heeding the call of the world government, which is interesting.
And then at the end is when we see Blackbeard, right?
Yes, Blackbeard
which is pretty
recruits somebody from.
He breaks into Impel Down and releases a handful of
Yes, he
scary
does.
people to
Yes.
join his crew.
And he's like, at one point,
One
somebody
in
says like,
particular.
"What are you doing?" And he's like, "I don't even have the time to tell you what my plan is.
Yeah, it's-
but if you think this is big, you haven't seen anything yet." And you're like, "Holy shit!
What
is
is he
Blackboard
doing, man?
Blackbeard doing? Blackboard, Blackboard. So what is he doing?
I
It's sick.
really liked it, and I think it sets up a lot of stuff. And seeing a lot of return characters, I'd say it's
Yes.
up there for me. It's
Also, I'm just saying, like Buggy, like prison Buggy.
Dude, his
Dude's
look.
looking good.
Bon
Dude,
Clay,
his look
dude.
is
Bon
way
Clay.
cooler.
Bon
Bon Clay being
Clay.
there.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And once again, proving he's one of the best characters.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Then we have Marineford.
That's
It is literally the best.
You don't have to talk about it. It's just perfect. It's perfect.
It's perfect.
it's
If you get there, you'll
honestly
know.
maybe
It's
the best arc in anime.
I would
genuinely,
say so.
There's nothing that made me.
It's like-
I watched this all in like one day because I was just like I can't
Yes.
fucking stop. Like
It's like everything just comes together all at once, and it's just
it's a perfect bookend for a middle of this series. Everything before like mattered, and you get to see a lot of things like lead up into it.
Yes.
and it feels so important.
It's so
for
good.
Yeah.
It's
All
insane.
7 warlords are in one place. They are. It's a war. It's,
Whitebeard
it's literally called
pirates.
the Paramount
You
War.
get to see Whitebeard, which is
The introduction of
The
I'm
coolest
getting
thing
chills
ever.
right now, dude. The introduction of Whitebeard.
It might be one of the
It's
coolest
the
of
coolest.
any.
I think it's the coolest moment in. I want to say all of anime for me. I know it's not objectively, you know what I mean, but like
So fucking cool though.
that dude just saying like, basically, it's been a long time to the fleet admiral, like the top of the navy,
Yeah.
and then saying, "Release
One
my
Piece."
son." Yeah,
the One Piece.
but like saying like, "Give me back my son," and that dude saying like, "No," and he was like, "All right, let's do this," and then just like punches the air and the air fucking
Yeah.
cracks.
Yeah.
It is like the sickest thing. Oh my
So
god,
fucking
it's
cool.
so fucking good. And then the end of it.
oh the end,
Oh,
man. No
dude,
spoilers, guys, but
No spoilers, but I literally
Guys.
cried twice. Yeah, so fucking
it's
good.
absolutely insane.
It's insane.
So then we have post-war, which is a lot of
It's a lot of
backstory.
I loved it. I like that
Which-
kind of stuff though.
I loved it. I gotta say, man, I really loved it. It's not. I don't know.
Is this getting back into them reuniting or no?
No,
That's Kid.
No, that's Return to Sabaody.
Yeah, that's
Oh, yeah,
this
okay.
is Kid. You get Kid Luffy.
Yeah, Luffy's childhood.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. It's weird. Like I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. So like I thought it was awesome.
You now know what Luffy used to be like and what he is like now, which then influences. If you then go back and rewatch the series, every time somebody's like, "How is he still fighting?" You're like, it's because
get
he
it.
has to and
Yeah.
he wants to. That's the thing. So you really understand his character and you now understand Ace fully. And
For me, I mean personally, it's like it's up bottom S tier, but
I would say probably top of A.
that's fine. I really like that.
Return to Sabaody is the crew reuniting after 2 years.
it's cool.
So this is the end of the time
Get to
skip.
see everyone.
Seeing everybody's new design, everybody's
Yeah,
looks.
their new looks.
That's
and
cool, but like overall,
Usopp looks fucking awesome. He's
Usopp's looking
chiseled.
great.
Yeah.
Nami has long hair now. Like
I love Brooks' new look.
Brooke's new look
is
is
sick.
fucking cool. Frankie looks
I
completely
mean, I meant
different.
to say Frankie, not Brooks.
Oh, okay. Like, I think Brooke looks
looks cool,
awesome. Thriller Bark Brooke
yeah, Brooks
joined.
joins.
we hadn't talked about
Oh, and
Frankie either. So
Frankie
that's-
joined in Water
you guys
7.
know.
Whoops. And I don't know, man. Like all the characters are kind of redesigned. Zoro lost a fucking eye, and nobody knows why. Like what happened? And somebody's like,
trip, bro.
"You all right?" And he's like, "Yeah, why?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay." You know, like
But
whatever.
we saw what they were doing at this point, right?
Yeah.
We knew where everybody was.
So like Nami was on a sky island studying weather, and her whole thing is like she has Usopp made her the Climatech,
Yeah.
which is like a baton kind of thing that she can control weather with. Now she can do that even more effectively.
Yeah.
Usopp was eating a lot and also training on being a sniper, and he has some new moves which are fucking dope. Frankie is now Cyber Frankie.
he's fucking badass
He's
now.
cyborg.
I'm sorry, Cyborg Frankie. He's like very, very clearly a cyborg now. Zoro was training under none other than Mihawk with at his fucking castle Dracula thing
I love that.
Perona also.
with Perona.
I love that it's like you want me to train you to kill me, and he's like, yeah.
And he's like, all right, let's do it.
Sure, let's go. Whatever.
Let's go, because Mihawk is so certain.
Yeah, that he
won't be
will
able
not
to.
lose. Yeah.
And Zoro's so certain that he will win. And then at the end of
I
it,
almost feel like he wants someone to beat him
Because he's
this
bored.
does.
He's bored as
because
fuck,
I feel
dude.
like
all-
his main
ahead.
his main, rival was Shanks.
Yes, we also learned that Mihawk
Has, like,
used
a
to
swordsman,
spar with
too.
Shanks.
Yeah.
And then he stopped because Shanks lost his arm.
He's got one arm now.
And Shanks is like, all right, let's fight. And he's like, I'm not fighting you. There's
like-
one arm.
I don't know who would win, honestly, because. But. I honestly don't know.
Later in the story, when I was talking about the bounties being frozen, the bounties are updated. And Mihawk's is incredibly close to Shanks.
I'm like convinced that Mihawk is still like
probably one of the top characters.
Yeah,
Strongest.
for sure, dude.
Yeah. So the return to Sabaody, the crew reunites, and
I hated the side story in there of like the fake,
fake Straw Hats. That I didn't like at all, which brings it down, I think.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I liked it.
What'd
I
you
liked
put? What'd you put?
Luffy's return, just one shot in the.
With
thing,
hockey. Now we know what hockey is.
I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sport you play in the winter.
Yeah. I would say it's below Drum Island. And maybe below.
Oh,
Bro, it's above Drum Island.
Yeah,
dude.
it's right there. That's
Reverse
fine.
Mountain?
Yeah,
It's above Drum Island.
yeah. I think them meeting back up was really cool, but that's
Okay.
that's carries it.
Yeah,
No.
cool. All right.
Next,
Next we have Fishman Island.
See,
I would say probably
you're lucky. That's
honestly,
going
for how
above the
late
D.
in the series it is, it's like really like forgettable.
the villains
The
are
villains
terrible.
fucking long and bad. The
villains
are
lame.
terrible. The only thing that's good, it sucks. This is the worst arc. I almost hate it more than Skypiea. The only thing that saves it is like the ending as some introductions to shit.
Yeah.
That's it.
You,
Because
you get mentioned a name that is extremely important for the first time, and you learn about like the ancient weapons a little more.
yeah,
What an
what
ancient
name?
weapon might be. Joy Boy.
Joy Boy. Yeah, I forgot the introduction.
The first time he's mentioned.
Convo's a big mom. Like it sets up stuff, but it just the arc is so bad.
Yep.
It's just
The
not
villain-
interesting.
The villains are boring. It's like you should feel bad for fishermen because they're slaves and they're being treated horribly, and I do, but it's like it just doesn't do anything.
It does provide some context to Arlong too in hindsight, which is cool.
It was cool, but the villain there is just
It's just too long.
Yeah.
It's just way too
like
long.
50 or 60 episodes, and it does not need to be.
It could have gotten away with like 20, I think.
Yep, for
Like
sure.
remembering it now,
Yeah.
like the main things could have easily fit into 20 episodes.
100%.
So,
Yeah.
Okay. Punk Hazard.
Dude, I love Punk Hazard. I know it's not popular, but I'd say it's an A.
I would say it's an A.
Really?
I really like
I'd
it.
say B, but
B?
whatever you
Let's
guys wanna
go,
do.
You see a new
Let's go top of B.
dude. You see a new warlord. See Law.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, he's
And
like-
you see what his powers. I mean, you saw him in Sabaody, but like
yeah, you get to like really.
this one, you like see it and you're like, holy shit, this guy has the coolest power ever. It's one of my favorite Devil Fruits.
Yeah, I mean, you get to see a lot of characters. You get to see Smoker there. There's like it's a return of some other characters, and like I thought it was interesting. I didn't care about
Overall, I got a little bored of it.
I did
And I
too.
hated Caesar Clown.
I love Caesar, so maybe that's the
hate
difference.
him. He's so annoying.
Yeah, I didn't like Caesar at all, but I don't hate him as much now. But at the time, I was like, oh my God.
It also sets up a lot of stuff too, and I think that's why I like
does.
it. So I would say it's an A, but if you get top of B, that's fine. I'll take that.
I'll go top of B because, like you said, it does set up a lot. But in the moment, you don't know it's setting up anything until the very end, where Law's like, "All right, let's have a truce. Like, let's be allies, and I have a plan."
Yeah, that
and
ending
he's
is
like,
cool
"What's
enough
your
for me."
plan?" And Law's plan is to take down one of the 4 emperors of the sea.
Like, we're gonna take one down, and he's like, "All right."
Yeah, so now, and we've known this since Marineford, when, we forgot to say that fucking Shanks stops the war, by just showing up and saying it's over. And then everyone is like, yes, sir, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit. And that's what an Emperor of the Sea can do. Like that's the strength that emperors have.
I don't know. I really like Punk Hazard. I think it's
Yeah, I liked it. Dressrosa. I think this is an easy S.
It is definitely an easy S. I'm just trying to figure out where I want to put it.
I would say
I
it's
might
second.
put it.
second. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Dressrosa was like my favorite arc.
it's literally
for a
my
while.
favorite.
Yeah. Now we get to see Doflamingo, what he's actually capable of, how fucked up he is.
All the characters are so fucking cool.
It's long, but I mean, it's awesome, dude. There's
Yes.
so many cool parts to it, and seeing all the characters. There's so many new characters that are sick. They're all like the way everybody's introduced. It's just good, and for what they're doing there is great.
Yeah.
It's
It's
all
great.
good. I don't want to ruin things.
Right. Zoe.
I like Joe, but it's not like my favorite or anything.
It's short enough to that, like the ending stuff, like of what goes on. I'm like, this is cool.
You do learn some really important stuff, and
yeah, I'd say it's a B.
I'd say it's a B. I just don't know if it should go above or below Drum Island.
Above, 100%.
Brandon?
I would definitely put it above Drum Island, but
Return to Sub. It's probably better than Return to Sabodi. It's not better than Punk Hazard, though.
I liked so.
I'm with you.
So yeah, that's fair.
All right. Whole Cake Island.
That's an S.
I fucking love Whole Cake
Dude,
Island,
it is
man.
so good.
What do you guys think? Where in S we should put this?
I think it is third.
Above Sabodi?
Yeah. It's really
Yeah.
good, dude. It's really good. You don't agree?
Above Sabodi.
Yeah.
Okay. So Whole Cake Island
I might
is.
actually put it under Sabodi, but
That's fair.
I would.
I think it's better, but
Whole Cake
you can
Island
put it
is
under there.
fucking amazing.
Because Whole Cake Island is kind of a setup for Wano. Sort of. But like, it's Sanji's backstory. And if anybody kind of wasn't a huge fan of Sanji,
Took long enough.
it took a long time, but I think this changes that.
Sanji is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
I love him.
Nami becomes, and this sounds mean, but I don't mean it like this, but she becomes like useful in a fight. That's, I think, really cool.
She's been useful in a fight before. But
She's been useful, but like she becomes like strong in
I
a
just
fight.
feel
after
like she
this.
feels like I don't know. She's always a part of the crew, obviously, but I feel like she's like, I'm with you. I don't know. It just really feels like she's in it.
Yes, like it again, like you said, it took long enough, but like
And this-
she,
yeah, this
It ties up like all the characters that I'm like, they could be doing better. I'm like, everybody is a fucking part of this, and
yes.
we need everybody.
because in Dressrosa the crew gets separated, and like Dressrosa focuses on like half the crew, while Whole Cake focuses on essentially the other half of the crew,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
And this has some of the most emotional scenes, and
Oh my god!
yeah.
I'm
Like,
crying the whole time watching it.
I cried a lot of tears, man.
Katakuri fight. It's very long, but it's sick.
It's so good.
So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool. Next up, the Reverie. I would say this is probably right under Marineford.
No,
I don't know. I love the Reverie.
It's pure world
so
building.
which is honestly some of my favorite stuff. Like those are the things I love. But
Yeah.
it's cool.
I just love Dressrosa.
it's not
Okay.
better than Dressrosa.
It's definitely not better than Marineford, but I might put it under Dressrosa.
It's like
under
a
the-
6
Just
chapter
because
thing.
it's so short.
It's so
and-
short. It
but,
doesn't
like,
waste time.
They give you a lot in what it is, and it's all important. I love it.
I might hate it
but-
more because I watched it.
I just really like Dressrosa.
Because it is
man.
just recapping every single thing that happened. I'm like, I fucking know. I get it. It's just
That's
like,
what it did in the anime?
yeah, it's bad.
That's not what it did in the manga.
No, there's stuff happens.
I mean, it stuff happens, but like in
They-
the anime, so I watched it and I did not read it.
I
in
watched
the
it
anime,
too.
it just recaps what each of the characters, like why, well, this is how I met Luffy. This is how I'm like, yeah, I
Well,
watched
they
it.
did do that, but
How long did that take?
It felt like a whole episode for every person.
Dude, it's like a panel or two in the manga. Like,
No,
so
anime's
I started reading in Zoe. So I read all of Whole Cake and
Yeah.
everything past that.
I think, I mean, you guys like really wanted me to get there too, and we're hyping it up, and then when it just started recapping stuff for like pretty much the whole episode,
no, I don't.
and I was like,
sucks.
This, yeah, it's not great. I mean,
sucks.
yeah,
Okay, that is something to consider though. So should we put that below Sabodi? Below Whole Cake maybe?
yeah. I mean, I would for me, but just on watching it.
Brandon, what do you think?
that's fair.
Okay, below Whole Cake?
Yeah.
Okay. World building wise, literally the top. Like that, it
There's a
explains
lot of cool
so
shit,
much. Yeah. And then Wano, which Dewey, you are not fully caught
in the
up
middle of it.
in
So,
Wano. What do you mean the middle of it?
well, I mean, I'm not done with it.
Oh, okay, okay. Because there's kind of like a fake out, like middle. Like there's like Act 1, 2, and 3, but like Act 1 is like pretty good
Yeah.
pace. Act 2, you're like, okay, I'm like halfway through or whatever. You're fucking not. Like Act 3 is huge.
Pretty long.
Yeah.
It's definitely an S, but
I can't say for now, but like everything in the, especially the animation of it, looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All their designs are sick. Like it does seem really cool, and I know some stuff is gonna happen, and I just
Yeah,
like
there's-
it's gonna be an
it's
S.
definitely later. There's some absolutely massive things happening, but
Now, there is one flashback in the middle of Wano that I think makes it an easy top of S. It's
yep.
world building,
Yep.
you know. But
I-
like,
I think it's higher than where you got
do you
it.
think it's above Water 7?
Yep.
I can't say so.
I mean, for what you're talking about and for stuff that
I would put it above Whole
is
Cake, I think.
way later is
Yeah.
some of the coolest stuff, I think, in the series.
Actually, I'd put it
Whole-
above Sub-Odi.
Yeah, it's,
Put it upside you.
There's some
I think
big
Dressrosa
shit
is
happens
still better.
in Wano.
Dressrosa is my favorite, so
Yeah.
I hope that it is.
It's just
It
that
is
the,
good.
the end of Wano, and now we're into the manga because the anime is not
Yeah.
there yet. But the end of Wano leaves a lot to be desired. I feel like I have some problems with the end of Wano, but that doesn't mean I didn't love it the whole way.
that makes sense.
So, all right, cool. So that is our One Piece arc list. This was kind of a longer episode.
fun to do.
It's definitely
Had a good time.
One, but One Piece is a long show, so
Yeah.
makes sense.
So if anybody is still here,
Hey, what's going on?
yeah, hey, thanks for listening to the whole thing.
If you skip to the end, thanks for watching it.
Yeah, that's
Even
great.
At all, that's nice of you.
Yeah, like honestly, if you skip to the end and you're seeing the full tier list now, like, do you agree? Do you not agree? Like, tell us what you think should be higher or lower, or what your favorite arc is. If you haven't watched One Piece and you're watching this or
You went too
listening,
far. You listened too far.
yeah,
Go back.
yeah, weird, but cool. Like maybe this will get somebody to like
That'd be
check
cool.
it out or something. So yeah, thanks guys for sticking around. And we have October coming up, and we're gonna do some spooky-ish stuff.
Hell yeah.
We're gonna kind of get back into some games. So be on the lookout for that. And I think that's it for this week.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys?
No, that's it.
No, I think that's it.
All right, sweet. So until next week, good night, gamers.
Right?
Bye.